Presence is the foundation of any deeply satisfying intimate experience, and it begins long before physical closeness. When you are fully present with a man, you communicate desire without needing dramatic gestures. Presence means slowing your thoughts, releasing distractions, and focusing entirely on the shared moment. It is about noticing the rhythm of his breathing, the subtle shifts in his body, and the quiet signals he gives when something feels especially good. Instead of rushing to prove yourself or worrying about whether you are doing everything perfectly, you ground yourself in calm awareness. This calmness creates safety, and safety allows excitement to grow naturally. A man responds strongly when he feels that your attention is undivided and intentional. He does not want to feel like you are performing a routine. He wants to feel chosen and explored with genuine curiosity. Presence transforms even the simplest touch into something meaningful because it carries emotional weight. When you hold eye contact a second longer, when you pause with confidence instead of nervousness, you build anticipation without forcing it. That anticipation becomes powerful because it is rooted in connection, not technique. True presence also allows you to respond in real time. If he reacts positively, you sense it immediately and continue with subtle confidence. If he relaxes, you soften with him. This adaptability only happens when your mind is not elsewhere. The more present you are, the more intuitive you become. And intuition is what elevates intimacy from ordinary to unforgettable. Presence is not loud or dramatic. It is steady, warm, and attentive. When he feels that you are completely there with him, emotionally and physically, the experience deepens in a way that feels natural rather than exaggerated. Confidence is what transforms intimacy from something uncertain into something magnetic. When you approach a man with quiet self-assurance, you immediately change the emotional atmosphere between you. Confidence is not about exaggeration or acting bold for the sake of performance. It is about feeling comfortable in your own skin and allowing that comfort to guide your movements. A man can sense when you are second-guessing yourself, and he can also sense when you are grounded and secure. That grounded energy allows him to relax, and when he relaxes, his responses become more open and intense. Confidence shows in small details, steady eye contact, unhurried movements, and the willingness to take your time instead of rushing. When you slow down, you communicate that you are not anxious about the outcome. You trust the moment to unfold naturally. That trust is powerful because it creates anticipation without pressure. Confidence also means you are not overly focused on perfection. You understand that intimacy is not about flawless execution, but about connection. If something shifts unexpectedly, you adapt smoothly rather than freezing or apologizing. This flexibility reinforces your composure and keeps the energy fluid. A confident presence feels intentional. Each touch, each pause, each glance seems chosen rather than accidental. That intentionality draws him in because it feels purposeful and deeply personal. He begins to feel that you are not merely responding to him, but actively desiring him. That distinction matters. Desire expressed through confidence is far more compelling than desire expressed through nervous effort. When you own your attraction and move with calm assurance, you create a dynamic where he feels both wanted and intrigued. Confidence does not need to be loud to be effective. In fact, the most captivating confidence is often subtle. It is the kind that makes him lean closer because he senses that you know exactly what you are doing, even in silence. Communication without words is one of the most powerful elements of intimacy because it turns the moment into a living conversation rather than a silent performance. When you truly tune in to a man's responses, you begin to understand that every breath, every subtle movement, and every shift in posture is feedback. Instead of guessing what he might enjoy, you observe and respond. This attentiveness makes him feel understood on a deeper level. He senses that you are not operating from a script but from awareness. That awareness creates emotional safety, and safety allows him to relax fully into the experience. When a man feels safe, he becomes more expressive, and that expression gives you even clearer guidance. It becomes a natural rhythm of action and response. You might notice that his breathing deepens when you slow down, or that he grows still when something feels especially good. These cues are invitations to continue or adjust. Communication also flows from you to him. A soft whisper, a gentle touch, or a lingering glance can reassure him that you are present and engaged. These signals build anticipation because they carry intention. You are telling him, without lengthy explanation, that you are invested in his pleasure and in the connection you share. Nonverbal communication requires patience. It asks you to pause and observe rather than rush ahead. That patience amplifies every sensation because it keeps both of you attuned to each other. Over time, this silent dialogue becomes more intuitive. You begin to anticipate his reactions before they fully form, and he begins to trust your guidance. This mutual awareness transforms intimacy into something collaborative and deeply personal. It is not about complexity or dramatic gestures. It is about listening with your eyes, your hands, and your presence. When communication flows naturally in this way, the experience feels seamless, emotionally connected, and far more powerful than words alone could ever create. Rhythm and variation are what elevate intimacy from something routine into something deeply engaging. When you understand rhythm, you realize that intensity is not created by constant motion, but by thoughtful pacing. Starting slowly allows anticipation to build naturally. It gives both of you time to settle into the moment and heighten sensitivity. When you resist the urge to rush, you create space for desire to grow. A gradual increase in pace or pressure feels more powerful because it contrasts with the softness that came before it. This contrast is what keeps him fully present. Variation does not mean being unpredictable in a chaotic way. It means making intentional shifts that feel fluid and connected. A brief pause can be more electrifying than continuous movement because it creates suspense. In that stillness, his body remains alert, waiting for what comes next. When you resume, the sensation feels amplified. Rhythm also involves paying attention to his breathing and matching it for a moment before subtly guiding it. That shared cadence creates a sense of unity that deepens emotional connection. As you adjust tempo thoughtfully, you communicate awareness and control without saying a word. Smooth transitions are essential. Abrupt changes can break immersion, but gradual shifts maintain flow. Think of it like music building toward a crescendo. The beauty lies in the rise and fall, not in staying at one level the entire time. Variation keeps the experience dynamic and prevents predictability from dulling excitement. When he senses that each moment is evolving naturally, he remains engaged and curious. Mastering rhythm requires patience and attentiveness rather than complexity. It is about feeling the energy in the room and responding with subtle leadership. By blending softness with intensity in a balanced way, you create an encounter that feels layered, immersive, and deeply satisfying without ever needing to exaggerate the moment. Enthusiasm is the energy that transforms intimacy from a simple physical exchange into something memorable and emotionally charged. When a man feels that you genuinely want to be there, that you are not acting out of obligation but out of desire, it shifts the entire atmosphere. Enthusiasm is not about exaggerated reactions or dramatic displays. It is about warmth, willingness, and the subtle signals that show you are engaged. A relaxed smile, a soft sound of appreciation, or the way you lean in with intention can communicate more than words ever could. When your body language reflects eagerness rather than hesitation, he feels chosen. That feeling of being chosen is powerful because it feeds his confidence and deepens his emotional investment. Enthusiasm also creates a sense of partnership. Instead of one person giving and the other receiving, both of you become active participants in the moment. He senses that his pleasure matters to you and that awareness encourages him to respond with equal energy. This mutual exchange builds momentum naturally. When you allow yourself to enjoy the closeness rather than focusing on whether you are doing everything perfectly, your movements become more fluid and authentic. Authentic enjoyment cannot be faked for long, and men are highly responsive to sincerity. If he sees that you are present and excited, he relaxes into his own pleasure without self-consciousness. Enthusiasm reassures him that the connection is real and mutual. It also strengthens trust because desire expressed openly reduces uncertainty. The key is to stay connected to your own feelings. If something feels good emotionally, let that show in small, genuine ways. These subtle expressions create a feedback loop where his response encourages you and your response encourages him. Over time, this loop intensifies the experience without needing dramatic gestures. Enthusiasm is steady, warm, and confident. It tells him that you are not merely participating, but actively savoring the intimacy you share. Emotional connection is what gives intimacy its depth and lasting impact. Without it, even the most skillful gestures can feel hollow. When a man senses that there is genuine care behind your touch, everything becomes more meaningful. Emotional connection begins with simple awareness. It is in the way you look at him, the softness in your expression, and the patience you bring into the moment. These quiet signals tell him that he is not just desired physically, but valued as a person. That distinction matters more than many realize. When he feels emotionally seen, his guard lowers. As his guard lowers, his responses become more open and natural. This openness allows the experience to deepen organically rather than feeling forced. Emotional presence also creates trust. Trust enables relaxation, and relaxation intensifies sensation because there is no tension holding it back. You are not just focusing on what feels good physically, you are attentive to how he feels emotionally. A gentle touch on his chest, a reassuring whisper, or lingering eye contact can anchor the intensity in tenderness. This balance between excitement and care makes the experience layered rather than one-dimensional. Emotional connection also encourages vulnerability. When he senses acceptance rather than judgment, he feels free to express enjoyment without hesitation. That freedom strengthens the bond between you. Intimacy rooted in connection lingers long after the moment ends because it resonates on more than one level. It becomes a shared memory built on closeness, not just sensation. By prioritizing emotional warmth alongside physical attention, you create an atmosphere where passion feels safe and meaningful. In this space, intensity grows naturally because it is supported by affection. Emotional connection is not dramatic or exaggerated. It is steady, genuine, and grounded. When he feels that your actions are guided by real feeling, the experience becomes far more powerful than any technique alone could ever achieve. Curiosity and adaptability are essential when it comes to creating a truly memorable, intimate experience. No two people respond in exactly the same way, which means there is no universal formula that works every time. What makes the difference is your willingness to discover what feels best for him in that specific moment. Curiosity is expressed through attentiveness. You observe his breathing, the way his muscles respond, the subtle sounds he makes, and you allow those signals to guide you. Instead of assuming, you explore gently and adjust based on feedback. This approach makes him feel uniquely understood rather than treated as a standard template. Adaptability is equally important. If something sparks a strong reaction, you stay with it a little longer. If his energy shifts, you shift with him smoothly and confidently. There is no awkwardness because you are not attached to doing things a certain way. You are attached to creating connection. This flexibility keeps the experience alive and responsive rather than rigid. It also removes pressure from both of you. When he senses that you are tuned in and willing to adjust, he feels more comfortable expressing himself honestly. That honesty deepens trust. Curiosity keeps the dynamic playful and evolving. Each encounter feels like a new discovery rather than a repeated routine. This sense of exploration builds anticipation because he knows you are paying attention to him specifically, not just going through familiar motions. Adaptability also shows emotional intelligence. It demonstrates that you value his comfort and enjoyment enough to respond thoughtfully. Over time, this creates a rhythm that feels intuitive and natural. The more curious you remain, the more confident you become in reading his cues. The more adaptable you are, the more seamless the experience feels. Together, these qualities transform intimacy into a collaborative journey built on awareness, respect, and genuine interest in one another. Ending with intention is what leaves a lasting emotional imprint long after the intensity of the moment has passed. Many people focus heavily on how intimacy begins and unfolds, yet the closing moments are just as powerful. When you slow down instead of pulling away abruptly, you create a sense of completeness. A gentle touch, steady eye contact, or simply staying close for a few extra seconds communicates that the experience mattered to you. That reassurance anchors excitement in warmth. Without this intentional close, energy can drop suddenly, leaving a subtle emotional distance. With it, the connection feels whole and satisfying. Remaining present at the end shows maturity and care. It tells him that you value not only the pleasure but also the bond between you. This strengthens trust and deepens attraction over time. Ending with intention also builds anticipation for the future. When the final impression is one of closeness and calm rather than haste, he associates intimacy with both thrill and comfort. That balance is unforgettable because it meets emotional as well as physical needs. Even small gestures can have a strong impact. A soft smile, a quiet expression of appreciation, or resting your hand on his chest signals affection without needing dramatic words. These moments create a bridge from intensity back to everyday connection. They prevent the experience from feeling transactional and instead frame it as shared and meaningful. When you treat the ending as part of the experience rather than an afterthought, you elevate everything that came before it. The memory becomes layered with tenderness and respect. Over time, this consistent pattern of intentional closeness fosters deeper attachment. He begins to feel safe, not just during the peak of excitement, but afterward as well. That sense of emotional security is powerful. It encourages openness and strengthens desire naturally. Ending with intention is subtle yet impactful. It transforms intimacy into something remembered not only for how it felt in the moment, but for how it made him feel afterward. Mutual respect is the foundation that sustains passion over time, and it becomes especially powerful in intimate moments. When a man feels respected, not just desired, his response deepens in a way that goes beyond physical excitement. Respect is shown through attentiveness to boundaries, sensitivity to comfort levels, and an awareness that intimacy is shared rather than taken. This mindset transforms the dynamic from something self-focused into something collaborative. You are not trying to impress or control, you are choosing to connect. When you approach closeness with consideration, you create an environment where he feels valued as a whole person. That sense of value encourages openness. He becomes more expressive because he trusts that his reactions will be received positively. Respect also appears in how you carry yourself. Calm movements, patient pacing, and genuine listening communicate maturity. Rather than pushing for intensity too quickly, you allow desire to unfold naturally. This patience signals that you care about the experience, not just the outcome. When he senses that you honor his comfort and enjoyment, it strengthens emotional security. Emotional security, in turn, intensifies pleasure because there is no hidden tension. Respect is not cold or distant, it is warm and intentional. It means recognizing that intimacy is powerful and treating it with care. Small gestures reinforce this attitude. Checking in subtly through eye contact, responding to his cues, and maintaining softness in your tone all contribute to a feeling of safety. Over time, consistent respect builds trust, and trust fuels passion in a sustainable way. Without respect, intensity may exist briefly, but it rarely leaves a meaningful impression. With respect, however, the memory lingers because it feels grounded and sincere. When you combine desire with consideration, you create a dynamic where he feels both wanted and honored. That balance is compelling. It allows intimacy to grow stronger with each shared experience rather than fading into routine. Patience is a powerful quality that often goes unnoticed in conversations about intimacy, yet it can transform the entire experience. When you practice patience, you resist the urge to rush toward a peak and instead allow desire to build naturally. This slow unfolding creates depth and intensity,